Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. How are we all doing today? I'm great. Super great. um, for those who don't know me, my name is Lindsey Hall, and I'm an intimacy and empowerment coach. And what that means is that I really help women. I want women to deepen into intimacy with themselves and with others. I really help women own their power and their pleasure and live a joyful life that they absolutely fucking love. So that is totally what I'm here for. And I do these tea break chats every week. So if this is your first time, then hello, welcome. And if you watch these all the time, then hi, I'm happy to see you again. But for those who are new, I chat first about kind of what's been going on in the past week, what's been going on in my life, what's come up, maybe what I've been struggling with or what lessons I've learned or what I'm celebrating. And then I do a Q&A part where people send me questions and I answer those. So it's a bit of a chance for free coaching every week. So what's been going on this week? A lot has been going on this week, and I don't even know where to start because there's just such big, exciting things happening, and it really feels like, and everything is cyclical. So both we as women have our 28-ish day cycle, and we've got the different phases within that month. We've got the wider season cycle. We've got the moon cycles. There's cycles all around us. Hey, Claire. And we are coming out of, obviously, the seasons. We're coming out of winter and into spring. Spring equinox was, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. Time means nothing to me these days. But so spring equinox was recently. We're very much into spring now. And spring is the time, both internally and externally, where all the seeds that got planted earlier, maybe you do some spring planting, but you do it in the fall and your bulbs are buried over the winter. And over the course of the winter, everybody kind of hibernates down and there's stuff happening underground, really important stuff, but you can't see it. It just looks like barren. And then early spring, you're doing some more planting. And then we're at the point now where it is all coming bloom. Things are coming up and there's obviously way more to come as we move into summer as well. But it feels like that season in me quite strongly as well right now, which is great because there was a lot of winter and I was like, I know that winter is part of it, but is it ever gonna end? But I've been doing so much seed planting and getting stuff set up in my business in terms of the divorcee program and my website, and really deepening more into how I do my coaching and what it is I stand for. And just doing a lot more in myself as well. And it feels like things are starting to bloom and I could not be more fucking excited about it. So what do I mean by that? What has been going on? So in the past few weeks, I know that you've talked lots about the blowjob class, but that's because it's been very exciting. So I did the blowjob class, and that has had 19 people sign up, and I know there's still more coming. If you're one of them, let me know. I'll send you the link. It's really good. And then as follow-up from that, I've launched Dirty Talk, and there's been 2 women signed up so far. A third who has said she's in, and we're just waiting to make it final. And I know that there's more coming for that as well. We launched Dirty Talk on Sunday, or we start on Sunday, So that's coming. I've just had another woman say yes to doing some one-to-one coaching with me on celebrating her sexual self. And we're going to launch into some one-to-one coaching on really starting to dive into shedding the shame on her, what she's holding around her sexuality, and start to peel back some of that shame and really let her step into owning. What is happening? There's noise. One sec. Where's the noise coming from? Okay. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but an app that I was using this morning, a meditation app, just started playing the music. So if you could hear that, sorry. And if you couldn't, then you just think I'm extra crazy. Hopefully it doesn't do it again. So anyway, I was talking about, so she's diving into some one-to-one coaching with me, so that's really cool. I've got some it just is a really cool time to be like, I'm investing more in some of my own stuff as well. So I just got off. If you watch my stories, you'll see me just be like, "Wah!" about this tarot card reading I just did. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. I've just booked a human design chart reading with a friend of mine, like the very first coach I ever did anything with. She's doing human design readings, so I booked that. And that's all about like understanding you and your kind of blueprint in more detail as well. And that's something that like I've known that it existed for years. I don't know anything about it, so I couldn't tell you anything at all really about human design yet, but I've known about it. I've known it's this like big important tool, but it just wasn't the right time. Whereas now it feels like now's really the time to go for it, to find out more about what this is and to learn more about me and about how to like, you know, like how I work best and that. So that's really exciting. And really just sort of like really deepening into the trust behind all of this and the trust that it's working out. I shared on my stories a few weeks ago that I felt like I'd been having like tantrums and feeling very wobbly, and there was the image that was coming to my mind was this bridge, and it was like a really wobbly what's the word? I want to say string bridge. That's not what I mean. But a wobbly bridge across a gorge, because I've been watching Virgin River, and they have beautiful gorges and valleys there, and they've got these rickety bridges going across between the mountains, and there's gorgeous scenery on either side and across, but like the bridge that you're walking on is like wobbly as fuck, and that's how it really felt. And I was like, oh, I do not like this wobbly part. I know this is part of the process. I know that like one side of the bridge is where I came from and, you know, a certain way of being and showing up. And then on the other side of the bridge is where I am going. And I've got like big, grand visions and grand ideas and desires and plans. And I've done so much of the seed planting. And I was like, but between those, there can often be a lag in like the energetic work that you've done and the mindset work and the physical world and how it's showing up. So I feel like I've done so much of the inner healing and the manifesting and the energetic work, but the physical world, it's not showing up here yet in the same way. And I felt like I was on that bridge and I was like, it is so wobbly on this bridge and I do not like it one little bit. I am so uncomfortable here. But also, there's no way in hell that I am walking backwards to where I just came from. Like, I'm in the middle of this bridge and, you know, to get off of it, I've got to go somewhere. So, like, the only way I'm going is forward. We are going forward and I'm going to keep walking on this wobbly bridge. And don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm off the bridge yet. It's not like I have all of my desires have come true yet. Nah, there's a lot that I desire and I dream of, but they're starting to. I am getting closer to the other end of that bridge. And it's really deepening into that trust that like, okay, I'm gonna keep walking this path. I'm gonna keep doing these things and believing that, like truly believing that the universe is on my side in all of this and that I am co-creating with the universe. So I was explaining to a friend of mine the other day, we were talking about, I had a kid-free weekend and I was feeling lonely and bored and I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm going to go back on Tinder because I've not been on the dating apps since I broke up with the last guy I was seeing about 2 months ago. I like jumped back on Hinge for a while and started a few conversations and I was like, ugh, it's just not the right time for me. So I've been off the dating apps, but I had this kid-free weekend and I was bored and lonely and I was like, right, I'm gonna jump on Tinder because on Tinder, it's like, I knew I wasn't looking for like my exactly man on there. I was just like, but I just want to like go out with somebody this weekend and it wasn't because I was on for a hookup. Not that I have problems with that, but I know that doesn't feel right to me. It's like, but I want to go on a date like this weekend where I don't have to do like days and days of chatting first. Tinder is not the place for me. The universe has been very clear. It's not the place for me. The first time I tried to sign up, it just blocked me altogether. I gave it a rest, tried to go back on, it let me back on. But the last 2 times I've like jumped on, I haven't gotten a single match. So I've never had a single match on Tinder, which I think is the universe being like, this isn't your space, Lindsey. This isn't for you. And where was I going with that? Oh, the co-creation. So talking to my friend about it, and she was asking me about like the man situation. And she was saying, you know, so if Tinder's not the place for you, then, you know, are you trying other places? And I was like, well, no, actually, because I can feel inside of me that this isn't the time for me to be doing a lot of doing on the dating front. I absolutely want the man of my dreams, and I have like a pretty clear vision, although I have some more clarifying to do, but I've got a fairly clear vision of what I want in that regard. But I know that all of my doing energy right now is focused on my business. And while I truly believe that we can have it all, I can have the business of my dreams and the man of my dreams and my family of the girls of my dreams, and I can have all of this, but I don't believe I can do it all at once. And I just feel really strongly inside of me that now is the time to be putting my energy and my focus and my doing on the business. And so I was telling my girlfriend that I've done the foundational work on the relationship front. I've done a lot of the healing that I can do on my own. I'm really clear on who it is I'm looking for. And actually, I feel like it's okay for me to take my eye off of that project right now. I'm all right with the universe, like, doing its thing and knowing that my relationship is absolutely coming to me. But I don't need to be out there, like, seeking and doing and going on the apps and doing the speed dating and, like, searching for my man, because I really am leaning back. I can feel it so clearly in terms of, like, I've done my bit for now, and the universe gets to do its bit, and it will happen when it's the right time. Whereas on my business front, I'm like, I got some doing to do. Like, there's so much, and it's not from a place of proving in my business that, like, I have to do all the things, or if I don't do this and that, it's not going to work. But it's like, oh, my energy is, like, flowing towards my business right now. And I'm like, yes, this is where my attention should be. And it feels so good and so clear. And, like, having those different priorities feels really, really freaking awesome. I'm not sure how I quite launched into that, but that's where I'm at. That is, like, I guess my life update is where I'm at right now, is just feeling really, like, settled and grounded into the trust of all of it. Grounded into the relationship is coming. I've got big stuff going on in my business. I'm so excited about that. And then, I said I would come back to the tarot reading. The really cool thing then, so I had this tarot reading today for the first time, and it was so amazing. And it like, in the reading, they, like, confirmed some of the stuff that I've already been feeling so deeply anyway. And they just confirmed it, which to me was really, like, amazing, and, like, really helped deepen my self-trust even more, because it wasn't like, oh, now that you've told me, I know it's true. It was like, yeah, I knew that, and actually I'm so, like, proud of myself for knowing that, for trusting myself in that. So the tarot reading confirmed that, like, yep, the man front is not my first priority right now, and that he is coming. Like, she could see him there. He is coming, but it's not my immediate focus. I've got more to be doing in my business. I've got more to be focusing on with my girls, and the man front is going to come later on. And by the way, I didn't ask her about a relationship. This was just what she was seeing in the cards and what the spirit guide was telling her coming through for me. But it was exactly what my question in my head was. I just hadn't asked it out loud. So yeah, she sees it coming more later. She does not see my relationship coming from an app. She sees it happening in real life, like somebody I meet in real person. And I was like, oh, thank fuck for that. Because the apps are like their own world, and there's, absolutely benefit to them. But certainly at the moment, my thought was, and I've had good luck on them. Like, all except for one person who I've dated has been from the app. So I've had really good luck with the apps. I like them, but I've just not been feeling them lately. So to have her be like, yeah, I don't see him coming from an app, I see him coming from real life, I was like, on board with that. But that is a longer term thing probably. Whereas there's big stuff happening in my business, and I got loads of clarity. Where do you find this lady, and was done remotely? Yes, it was done remotely, and so I will absolutely send you her contact details. A friend of mine told them to me earlier this week. So yes, I will pass them on. It was so amazing. So we talked about the business stuff, and yeah, she gave me such amazing clarity. So much clarity, while also at the same time, it's not at all prescriptive. It's not like you have to do this and that, and like, it's still very open. So I'm left now being like, okay, so what do I do with this information? How do I, she gave me areas to look at where, to rejig some of my packages, but it's up to me to feel into what that means and, like, what needs rejigging and what needs playing with. But really kind of gave me, and, like, reiterated that how everything that I offer needs to come from this place of, like, lit up. It needs to lift me. It needs to feel like this is absolutely the right thing to be offering. No half in, half out. Be really like my prices, like whatever comes through as the price, that is the price. Don't be second guessing it. And just like such cool stuff. And she also saw, again, I did not ask these questions out loud. I had questions in my head that I was thinking about when she was playing the cards, but then she was just telling me like what came up. Do you remember yesterday I put up a post that said I've just booked onto a thought leader program, and I said, mark my words, you're going to see me speaking on stages. And in my tarot reading today, she said she sees me speaking at in-person events, like speaking on a stage to lots of people. And I was like, yes, of course, because it was just last week in my journaling where I discovered I was writing out my desires, and I discovered that I want to do a TED Talk, or I want to be on a stage giving speeches. Speakers is what I was going to say. Talks on a stage. And it was like 2 or 3 days after that desire came through to me that I saw my friend was offering this thought leader program, and in her thought leader program, it's all about how like getting out there and speaking to crowds of people and speaking to like on stages and being a thought leader, being known for being a leader in what it is that we do. So yeah, I had the desire. A few days later, I saw my friend was offering this class in it, signed up. That's one where I was like, instantly, it was like a 20-minute turnaround of like, I'm kind of scared. I'm not sure if I belong in your group. And she was like, you do. You totally do. Please escort your butt into the group. And I was like, okay, purchased. And it felt so good. Like I couldn't wait to give her my money after she told me, you definitely belong here. And then only a few days later, I have this tarot reading and she's talking about like seeing me up on stage. Now, for you skeptics who are listening to this, she has not seen, this tarot reader did not know anything about me. She has not been, like seeing the stuff on my social media. She knows nothing about me. All of this is just what was coming through. And it just feels, that's an example of how I feel like things are just so aligned right now and falling into place. Like, am I on the stage speaking right now? No, not yet, but I'm going to be. And I just today bought the ticket for a group, like an in-person Sisterhood social event that's in Sheffield at the end of the month, end of next month, sorry, and that's like one of my dreams is to speak on that stage at some point. And this morning tickets went on sale for another Sheffield in-person event where it's like women up there sharing their stories. And I still need to see if I can get a babysitter for that one because it's on a night I have the girls. But just all these pieces are coming together. So lots of stuff going on. Okay, I think I've probably rambled for a long time. My watch battery died. I don't have my watch on these days and I feel so naked. So I don't know how long it's actually been. But I'm going to move on to the question that I had because, like I said in my stories, it could not be a more perfect question for today. So the question is, how do we find more sisterhood when we're doing this work, when it feels like everybody around us just doesn't get it? And feeling like, I've only got a few people who get it, and the rest of the people around me feel like I'm either boring or unfriendly or, just not everybody gets this. And I get that. It's true. Not everybody does get this. Like when you start on this kind of work, when you start down this path, it is different. This is so different than the everyday humdrum, the way that we've been living. And that's why it can feel like when you start doing the work, it can feel a bit like shaky, almost of like, and some hesitancy to step into it or not, because you kind of can get this intuitive sense that like, if I go into this work, things are going to change. And we can be scared of change because it's unknown, and the unknown can be scary. So that's often what stops people from stepping into it is like, but what am I going to find when I start down this path, and are things going to change? And because yes, they do. And we know that even from the beginning. It's then once you're in it and you feel like I am changing, I am different, like, and the people around me aren't necessarily getting it. So and I think, we spoke about this, I don't remember if it was last week or a couple weeks ago, about like if people kind of fall away and fall out of your life as a result of this. And I talked about how, yes, that can happen. But also there's a lot where it's not necessarily that people have to, just because they don't get it does not mean that they have to fall away from your life. There could be people who you still really enjoy spending time with and you get along on different levels, but maybe not this one, and that's okay. In the same way that I'm sure, a lot of us have different kind of friend groups that we bond over different things. So, you might have, like, I've got a mom friends group where we tend to talk more about mom stuff. And then I had, like, my work friends where we didn't talk about our kids as much. We talked about other stuff. And, you might have different groups of people in your life who you bond over different things. And so that's okay. So just because there's people in your life who don't get it where you're at now, that doesn't necessarily mean you've got to get rid of them. It just means you might be talking about other things. But if you want to find that sisterhood, though, the people who do get this, the people who are like, yes, I'm here with you, sister. Like, so the reason this conversation could be more perfect is I am feeling so loved up in the sisterhood vibes right now. And, I was sharing about stuff last night. I was sharing about sisterhood stuff today. Like, I'm just feeling all of the sisterhood love, like, from me to them and them to me. And all this comes from, well, two things really, I think, are my answer. The first answer is just leaning into it yourself more and more and more. So honestly, truly, the more that you are you, the more your people will be attracted to you. So whatever whatever version of you you're being, that's the kind of people you're going to attract. So if that is like a more watered down or a more like barricaded off version, you're going to get the people who are going to be attracted to the more watered down version. Or if you've got, shields up over your heart, people aren't going to know the real you and they're only going to be attracted to like the surface level. And that's fine. But as you start to peel back and open up more and uncover more of you, the more that you show yourself, the more that your people who are on that level are going to come in and find you, because that is how the law of attraction works, is your vibration matches with people who are and things who are at that same vibration level. So it's not immediate, it takes time, but the more just really leaning into being your truest self and showing that to the world, and people, the right ones, will come in and find you. And then the other thing is to go out and find the spaces where people who are doing this kind of work are more likely to be. And so there are definitely places where you can go, and the more you go out there and meet new people and put yourself in new spaces, the more the easier it becomes to attract your matching people. So for me, a lot of this has been online. And in fact, like a big goal of mine this year is to bring it offline and more into the real life space, which is why some of these, like these speaking events are so enticing to me. Oh, hello, lovely. And so I've been working, this year is more about, I want the real life in-person sisterhood. But up until now, it's been mostly online. That's where I'm finding the other women who are doing this kind of work with me. So it's through other coaching circles. It's through Facebook groups. So both of my coaches, Chelsea and Kimberly, both have free Facebook groups that they're in. And so their Facebook groups attract people who are, attracted to them, who are the kind of people who I'm attracted to in a lot of cases. So I'm in both of their free Facebook groups. Then my coach, Kimberly, her coach, Julia, has a Facebook group. Those three have been kind of my main areas of they are full of women who are also doing this work. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people in all of those groups too who I'm you're not necessarily my vibe, or there's a lot who, in terms of the sexual work that I'm talking about in Dirty Talk, there's a lot, especially in Julia's Facebook group, where it's so Julia's whole thing is pussy-based business, and it's a very sexual crowd. And at first, for a long time, I just lurked in the background of the group, looking around at all these women being what the fuck? I can't believe they say that. I can't believe they do that. I can't, I was just at all of it. But then over time, it's that helped though. That exposure really has done a lot of work towards my sexual awakening and sexual empowerment just by being in the room with them. And then the same of so that's where I've formed a lot of connections with people, is starting to comment on their posts, and then every now and then I'll post and they'll comment back. So it's, you find your people through the other people, but it's like I said, it's been mostly online for me. And also joining masterminds and other programs. So if you join a group program or if you join a mastermind, you meet the women then, and oh my goodness, the mastermind I was in last year is just some of my deepest sisterhoods. And I was chatting with one of them the other day about how I put out a post about being visible as a result of the blowjob class and the Dirty Talk program. And I was just feeling I am so much more visible here. And, when I first posted, it was like, I feel like I might die. But it felt safe to post that because I knew I have these sisters who were not going to let me die. Even if, like, the whole of the internet attacked me for what I was doing on, like, by having a blowjob class, I knew that my sisters were going to hold me and love me and support me no matter what. And knowing that you've got that can make some of this, like, other work so much easier. And so really, like, having that, and that came from a paid mastermind. So some of my sisterhood community has been paid, but although, like, so I was in the paid mastermind, but the friendships and the relationships obviously, like, are real and solid and have lasted. So the mastermind ended back in December, that particular one did. And we are all still absolutely, like, this close-knit, tight group of women. And I've never met any of them in person. The only one of my coaches, I've met Charlotte, who was the very first one who I did any coaching work with at all, and she's the one I'm doing the human design reading with. I met her in person because she's local to me. So I met her years ago. And then I did a VIP day with Kimberly in California back in 2021. But none of, like, my coach Chelsea, who I've worked with for 2.5 years, I haven't seen her in person, although that's on my desire list. I'm going to hug Chelsea in real life at some point. None of my other mastermind sisters, like, I haven't met them in person, but they are some of, like, the most important people who have my back no matter what. So Tinternet is my answer for finding sisterhood. And is there anything else on that? Is there anything else? I don't think so. But I guess the sisterhood piece comes organically, and it can't be faked, and it can't be, like, you see sometimes, but you get a feel for it. Like, there's some people on the internet who are like, hey girl, I love what you do, and then, like, disappear. Whereas, the relationships I have, like, and the cheerleading and support, like, I think you can all tell how really genuine it is from me, because it is. It feels different, and really getting behind that, like, the women supporting women, and sisterhood wounds come up in this as well. So, like, one of the best gifts of my mastermind with these women was the chance to heal these sisterhood wounds that I didn't even know I had. And so stuff would come up where, like, I would be jealous of some of them sometimes because they're further ahead in their business, and I'd be like, you're celebrating this thing and I want to celebrate you, but also I am kind of jealous of it. And having the chance, though, to talk about that and to say that. And then equally, and this part actually was harder for me to realize, there were also moments where I felt like a bit of the condescending bitch, where I was like, well, I've got a client that you don't have. And, like, or like, well, at least I'm doing better in my business than you are. And that was really hard for me to recognize. I was like, oh shit, that's not a part of me that I like, and had to heal that side. And so, but doing that with other women who are doing this same kind of work really, really, really is where the magic comes in, because it was safe for me to talk about both sides of those, like the jealousy up and the looking down, and being like, we are actually all just women in this together. And, and then another thing, I guess, in terms of, like, how do you find them? So I talked about the free Facebook groups. I talked about the, like, the masterminds. And then there's just things. So it's just branching out and finding your people. Like, so I'm in one of these this is an example, but in one of those Facebook groups that I'm in, somebody had posted that they were doing a speaker series. So I found her on Instagram, signed up for her speaker series. And if you watched my stories last night, it was the Magnetic Woman speaker series. So by watching that, I then watched a video with an interview with Heather Rebecca Wilson. Then I went to her Instagram and found hers. And then from there, so you just build these, like, beautiful webs of, like, and you won't vibe with everybody. Like, one of those Facebook groups, there's, like, 5,000 people in it. I don't know the vast majority of them, but the ones who you're meant to connect with come. And back to the very beginning of, like, being the you-iest you is how you attract the ones who are your vibe and how you find the ones. But the more hidden down you are, the harder that is to get that vibe going. Whereas the more you, like, come out and you're like, this is what I like to talk about, this is what I like to do. And that happens in person too. So I went to this coffee morning last week, and I'd been to this coffee morning before twice, like several months apart. I used to spread these out quite far, not intentionally, just happened that way. But so I'd met these women before, and we had just had pleasant conversation. Whereas when I went this week, I honestly don't even know how it came up, or last week, I don't know how it came up, but somehow we ended up talking about like manifestation and about energy work. And then it was there that this woman that we were talking about, she said, oh, and I got a tarot card reading last week. And she started telling us about her tarot card reading. And that's where she gave me the name of the woman I did the reading with today. But that would never have come up before, because I would never have admitted that like I even like was into manifestation and believed in it and believed in this like higher energy and the universe working like, for us in co-creation. But just by talking about these things that we actually are interested in and we believe in, it gave her the chance. And she would never have like started the conversation with a stranger of like, I have this tarot card reading. It took both of us to just like, I was talking to her, she's like, oh, and I know this thing. And then that led to me getting in touch with this woman. It led to this amazing reading today. All of that just comes from deepening into you and being you and putting that out there. So I hope that was helpful. I feel, like I've just been whoosh away with things today. So I hope that was helpful. But I believe so strongly in the power of sisterhood. I believe that we all have like really deep sisterhood wounds that we may or may not know about. I knew about some of mine, but I keep getting shocked when more come up and I'm like, oh yeah, there it is again. But I believe so strongly in our ability to heal them, and that, oh good, I'm glad it was helpful. And I believe that the work not only helps heal the sisterhood wounds, but the sisterhood helps us do the work more. Like I said, it can feel so much safer to do this when you know that you are not the only one, when you know other people are cheering you on for this too. And you see other people going through it as well, or going through it at different levels. And none of this is meant to be done on our own. So I think that finding your people and finding those communities is like insanely helpful. And I believe that with any of the healing work that we do, that healing work is meant to be done together and in sisterhood. And that's why Dirty Talk is a group program. That's why the divorcee, so yes, you can buy the lessons on their own individually, and I think that is great, but also I think you're going to get a heck of a lot more if you do it in the one-to-one coaching, because just watching them on your own is not the same as having support going through it. There will be, at some point, I'm going to be doing a group version of the divorcee program as well, and I just cannot wait for that, because I think that going through the divorcee program with other women in that life stage is going to be like insanely helpful. All of this, the sisterhood part is so deep, and I cannot, I just love it so much. So let me wrap up, and I just mentioned some of the things I'm doing, but let me wrap up and say that if you want to work with me any deeper on any of this, I would absolutely love to. So yes, Dirty Talk is the thing that's like the most pressing on my mind right now, because it's a place where we're going to do group calls. We start on Sunday. There's going to be 4 calls. We're going to talk about self-pleasure. We're going to talk about dirty talk with a partner, which includes like sexting and phone sex and dirty talk like in the bedroom together. We're going to talk about blowjobs, unless there's a big overlap with people who've already seen the blowjob class, in which case we'll come up with something else. And then the 4th week is going to be open to the group to talk about. So it's a chance I'm going to teach about what I know on these topics. I'm going to talk about my experiences. We're going to open it up to Q&A and conversation for those who want to participate. But also, like I said, like when I first joined that Facebook group and I was like, I'm just going to be a fly on the wall. That's okay too. If you just want to be in a space where we're having these conversations, that's okay. But we're going to talk about these things and talk about all the sex stuff that people want to talk about. So that starts on Sunday. That's £88 for the 4 weeks plus a group messaging app. There's the blowjob class, which you can still get, £14. Super fun. I can give you the link for that. There is the divorcee program. So if you are anywhere in the process of divorce, from like starting to think about it through to like I'm in the mess to dating afterwards, that is up. Like I said, you can get just the classes on their own, which is £122, and that's a good starting point. I cannot stress enough that actually doing it in coaching individual support is like way more healing, but that does cost more. So I wanted there to be options at all levels. So there's that. You can totally dive into just one-to-one coaching with me on your own. We can go into, like I said, I've got this woman who's doing the working on celebrating her sexual self in a one-to-one package for that. We can talk about literally anything you want in one-to-one coaching. So you can get 3 sessions for £444, or you can get 3 months of coaching where you get 3 calls a month and Voxer, and that is £667 a month. I'm just throwing numbers at you now, probably overwhelming you. Reach out to me if any of these are sounding like, yes, that is what I want, or if you're just like, I don't know, you just said a whole bunch of stuff, I just know I want to work with you. Great. Send me a message. We can figure out the best way to work together. But there are options, and there's lots of price options right now as well. So amazing. Okay. If any of this is like super, super helpful, please let me know. If you want to continue the conversations in the comments, send me a message. You know, there's all the ways to keep talking, but let's keep talking, please. And if you want to share it with a friend, please do. Send it to them, tag them in the comments. You know, just let's invite more sisterhood in. If you think that there's people who want to hear this, or you just want to like share it on your stories and know that the people who need to see it will see it, great. Let's get this sisterhood. Let's keep building that because it means so much. I'll be here next week at the same time. I'll put the story box where you can ask me the questions. And if you have anything in the meantime, send me a message. I think that's it. I'm going to go get my kids now. Nora's got her first school disco tonight. So we're going to go get sparkly for that. So yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you later.